You can delete every single shopping app from your phone, skip every night out with your friends, and commit to as many viral buy-nothing challenges as you like, but if you do not fix this one underlying issue, you will keep hemorrhaging money every single month. It is not about being lazy, and it is certainly not about being reckless with your cash. If anything, it is a case of trying far too hard to be good with the exact wrong things. Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. I'm your host, a qualified accountant and former investment banker, and today we are talking about high growth and why trend-jacking extreme frugality on social media is actually keeping you broke. I am going to show you the specific silent habits of the quietly wealthy and how simply prioritizing your time over price can completely transform your financial trajectory. 10 years ago, hardly anyone was talking openly about money online. Now, no-spend challenges are everywhere, and for every person trying to influence you to buy something, someone else is trying to de-influence you. I love that people are finally being transparent about money, but somewhere along the way, being good with your finances started to mean spending as little as physically possible. The problem is that there is only so much you can actually cut from your budget. You could completely give up takeaways, never buy a new piece of clothing, and stop seeing your friends, but all that does is make you miserable while keeping you stuck on the hamster wheel of trading your time for a salary. If you have ever felt like you are doing everything right, budgeting meticulously and saying no to things you enjoy, but you are still not seeing any real high-growth progress, it is time to look at the real money drains that eat up thousands every single month. When you zoom out, the biggest threat to your wealth isn't your morning coffee, it is the roof over your head. Housing has become so incredibly expensive that private renters in England on a median household income can expect to spend over 36% of their income on rent, and in London, that jumps to over 41%. A massive mistake I see people make early on in their wealth-building journey is upgrading to a bigger home just because the bank offered them a larger mortgage. Let us run the numbers in pounds. Let's say you buy a £600,000 home with a £550,000 mortgage at a 6.5% interest rate over 30 years. Your monthly payment would be around £3,480. And by the time it is fully paid off, you will have paid over £1.25 million. That is more than twice what the house was originally worth. If you intentionally chose a smaller home and took a £400,000 mortgage on the exact same terms, your monthly payment drops to roughly £2,530, saving you nearly £1,000 every single month. This is exactly what I mean when I say buy nothing trends focus on the wrong details. While you're stressing over a £3 coffee, you might be overspending by thousands every month on an inflexible, massive commitment. Staying smaller for longer keeps your fixed costs down and leaves massive room in your budget to invest and compound your wealth. The second silent money leak that destroys high growth is how you finance your cars. Only a small percentage of adults rely entirely on public transport, so having a vehicle is often a necessity, but the way you buy it can wipe out years of financial progress. The average new vehicle loses around 40% of its value within the first 3 years. If you buy a brand new car for £45,000, it could be worth just £27,000 a few years later. Compare that to buying a 3-year-old car for £27,000 and keeping it for 7 years. Not only is it £18,000 cheaper upfront, but the previous owner has already absorbed that massive depreciation hit. Even with PCP finance, paying £600 a month for a car compared to £350 a month is an instant difference of £3,000 a year. If you took that £250 monthly difference and invested it in a globally diversified index fund, returning an average of 8%, after 30 years, you would have over £354,000. You can't coupon clip your way to £350,000, but you can certainly get there by making one logical decision about what you drive. Then we have to talk about the structural costs that force people to play the wrong wealth game, specifically childcare. In the UK, it costs about £263 a week on average, or roughly £13,500 a year to send a child under 2 to nursery full-time. For many parents, childcare costs eat up so much of their salary that it feels like it makes financial sense to step back from full-time work. But the quietly wealthy treat this decision as a long-term strategy rather than just a monthly budget issue. While quitting work might save cash in the short term, the long-term consequences include slower career progression, lost workplace pension contributions, and missing out on future pay rises. The quietly wealthy look at the bigger picture and weigh the compound interest they lose by stepping away from their careers against the immediate cost of nursery. This perfectly transitions into the ultimate sign that someone is secretly wealthy. They don't ask, "How much does this cost?" as their very first question. Instead, they ask, "How long will this take?" or "Could I buy this time back?" While they absolutely still care about price and avoid being reckless, time is the ultimate unit they optimize for. This mindset shift happens the moment money stops being the main bottleneck in your life. When you start optimizing for time, everything changes. You delegate sooner, you focus your energy on high-leverage work, and you stop penny pinching in ways that actually cost you hours of your life. I've learned that wealth compounds the fastest when your time is spent on high-value decisions, skill building, rest, and recovery. People who are stuck in a scarcity mindset fiercely protect their cash, but people with an abundant, high-growth mindset fiercely protect their attention and time. To start thinking this way, calculate your rough hourly value by dividing your annual take-home pay by your working hours. Use this as a thinking tool. If a purchase or service costs less than your hourly value and saves you an hour of tedious work, it is almost always a smart financial decision. This is why secretly wealthy people spend their money on the most boring stuff imaginable. I'm talking about hiring great accountants, paying for insurance, investing in index funds, and buying quality tools that make their life easier. Flashy spending on luxury designer items depreciates rapidly and inflates your lifestyle, but boring spending protects you when things go wrong and frees up your mental bandwidth. Nobody has ever posted a photo on social media bragging about their new accountant, but that boring expense might quietly be the exact reason they get to retire a decade early. Speaking of buying back your time, if you are building a portfolio career or running a side business, you should not be drowning in administrative tasks. For years, I struggled with sending and receiving invoices, checking dates, and manually adding descriptions to spreadsheets. It was an endless loop that drained my energy. I realized I needed an automated solution, but had absolutely no idea how to build it. Instead of wasting weeks trying to figure it out, I went to today's sponsor, Fiverr Pro, and hired a vetted AI specialist. By the end of that week, I had a custom AI agent that automatically scans my invoices, extracts the data, and logs it into a tracker. The whole headache was fixed in days, saving me hours every single month. If you want to stop trading your time for low-level tasks and focus on high-growth strategies, head to Fiverr Pro to find top-tier freelance talent to streamline your business. Ultimately, everything we have talked about today comes down to understanding which game you are playing. Most people are exhausted because they are playing the highly visible status game. The status game is an external ranking system based on the size of your home, the brand on your clothes, and the make of your car. The problem with the status game is that for you to win, someone else has to lose. If I buy a Range Rover to improve my status, it only works if you don't have one. It's an endless, unwinnable cycle that leads to massive debt. The quietly wealthy refuse to play this game. Instead, they play the wealth game. The wealth game is not about what everyone else can see on Instagram. It's about what's happening behind the scenes. It's the investments you can't photograph, the 6-month emergency fund sitting quietly in a high-yield savings account, and the maxed-out UK workplace pension. High growth is not about extreme, miserable frugality or entering a viral trend where you buy nothing for a year. It's about matching your money with your actual life priorities, keeping your fixed structural costs low, and aggressively buying back your time so you can focus on increasing your income. If you found this video helpful and you're ready to stop playing the status game and start playing the quiet wealth game, please hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a comment down below telling me one boring expense you've made that actually improved your life, and I'll see you in the next one.